The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences. I know we're usually talking about kids' cartoons and stuff, but there's going to be naughty language. Anyway, listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, your weekly home for animation reviews and discussions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast for this week. I'm your host, JD, and with me is Kyle.
Yo.
Yeah. And hey, Melanie is here as well.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yay.
Melanie went and saw this movie with me, so...
I see a lot of movies with
You do. Melanie and I go see movies all the time.
you. 9 out of 10 movies.
Yeah, there's really not a time I go to the movies that you're not with me.
Well, you went and saw that before.
That's true, but you were out of town.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
No, we just didn't see
but yeah, so this week we are talking about Toy Story 4, a sequel that I don't think any of us really expected that we would need, and I don't know, it's strange.
It is. I gotta be honest. I kind of forgot they were even making this fourth one, and I think I was in, like, denial for a bit about it. That, they're not gonna finish it, like... It's just gonna go on the back burner, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, they're still talking about making Shrek movies, and I'm still a little iffy on those as well.
Are they making a Shrek 5, or are they rebooting Shrek?
They're talking about rebooting it, I think.
Oh, God.
Rebooting, wow.
Reboots are all the rage these days. Wait till the Toy Story reboot in 10 years.
Well, we were just talking about how they just need to, like, HD remake it, because, like, the first one was so scary to watch.
You've heard of HD remakes for gays, now we're HD remaking
Yeah,
films.
Because, like, the first one is so horrific.
I mean, they have Lion King coming out, so you never know, man.
We're gonna make live action
Yeah.
Toy Story.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The actual Tom Hanks.
Motion capture Tom
Oh my
Hanks.
gosh.
Yeah. Down
That'd
for
actually
that.
be pretty funny. I'd watch
I
that.
would totally watch that.
But yeah, so we went and saw Toy Story 4 over the weekend, and basically, Toy Story 3 was like the ending of the Toy Story story. This is more like an epilogue, I guess.
I really thought Toy Story 3, I was like, this is great. This is wonderful. It's over. What a great way to end it. There's nowhere they can go from here. And then I was wrong.
And now I really don't think they can go
Yeah.
forward from here. For
Well,
spoiler
like,
reasons that we'll get into in a bit.
I was fine with how they ended the third movie, because then they just made a bunch of mini episodes, and that was fine.
And honestly, yeah, so that, like, yeah, post 3, they just made all these little, like, made-for-TV shorts, and honestly, the more I think about it, this movie just kind of feels like a really long version of one of those.
So I gotta be
That's what
honest, I was kind of bored. Yeah.
That's what I read. A lot of people were saying that this movie just felt like a bunch of small episodes made into one thing.
Kinda.
Well, I said that it felt like the third movie, how, like, in the third movie they were stuck in, like, the preschool, and there was, like, things monitoring the preschool.
So it was like a prison movie.
Yeah, and then I felt like this one just kind of did the exact same thing with, like, the dummies and the one Gabby doll. It
Yeah.
just kind of felt like a repeat of that, and I got kind of bored. I was just like, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, basically this movie kind of picks up a little, I think like a year, probably, I'm guessing about a year after Toy Story 3, because
Yeah, 'cause she's
Bonnie's in kindergarten now, in preschool. And so before her first day at kindergarten, her parents take her on a road trip, and, for a movie pitched as a road trip, they only ever go to one town.
Only one place.
They go to one town. So,
Well,
but because...
that was my problem with this movie, is that you have these locations, but did the carnival really add anything to the movie?
You set up the Key and Peele characters.
Like, that's all it did.
I mean, I guess that's where we found Bo Peep, so.
Yeah, the carnival really doesn't really add anything to the story other than just kind of being a cool set piece and, like, being able to, like, kind of go in and out of like all the rides and all that kind of stuff. So it's mostly just there for aesthetic. But yeah, so the Bonnie and her parents go on a road trip, and she takes all the toys with her.
I forgot the most important part, though.
But yeah, like you've seen in the trailers, if you've seen them, we just broke the rules of like what is considered it is not a toy, because she makes her own toy and it comes to life. Forky, who is literally a spork with pipe cleaners and popsicle sticks for limbs. And even they make a joke at the end of the movie where they're like, how are you alive? And like, I don't know. So they're not even gonna try to explain how it works.
I mean, I never thought like about that. I guess I never cared about.
I mean, they play fast and loose, like what is and is not a toy. Like I told you when we got out of the movie, it's like, there's like a little chair in this.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's alive, but it has eyeballs, so it's like.
And it was Mel Brooks?
No, the Mel Brooks is one of the little dinosaur toys.
Oops, my bad.
So it's always been weird, like what can and cannot be a toy, and what gets sentience and whatnot.
I don't know. I guess I never thought about it. It's just the magical world that
I guess
is in the movie.
But they make such a big deal of like Bonnie made a friend, like literally made one.
That was stupid how they did the joke twice.
They did do it at the end.
Like, seriously, they haven't learned from the first time.
There's another thing too with the second movie and I think one or two of the shorts is how certain toys have sentience, but they don't know that they're toys. So you have number 2 where Buzz meets another Buzz, and it's the same thing where he thinks he's a space ranger, and then the dinosaurs, they didn't know they were toys. So that's a whole nother rule set too.
So that's something I've always kind of assumed is like every toy goes through that like weird existential crisis when they become self-aware.
Well, I don't know, because then even Woody's like talking to Forky about how he thought it was dumb and annoying that Buzz didn't know he was a toy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're just programmed certain ways.
I don't know. I think they just do whatever the plot wants it to do.
Okay. Well, and then I also thought it was weird how in the beginning of the movie that doll is like the leader of the room, right?
Yeah.
And then when they go on this car trip, all of a sudden Buzz is in charge. And then at the end of the movie, Jesse's the one in charge.
Which, okay, I just want to say that this movie like has all the toys that are like, you know, all of Andy's old toys, all of Bonnie's old toys, so they're like all one big group now. 90% of them have zero to do in this movie and are literally just there to make reaction faces.
Like the dinosaur and the slinky dog and the pig. Well, the pig said like one thing the entire movie. Like,
yeah, they're just there because they have.
I totally forgot they were.
Like, I don't understand why they all had to go on the road trip. Like, why didn't Bonnie just take a few of them?
Everybody needs a paycheck, man.
It's true. I mean, hell, they had to reconstruct Don Rickles' voice just to get him in this movie.
Yeah.
Well,
I think isn't his wife dead too or something?
I don't know. I just remember that I guess that Don Rickles' family wanted Pixar to find a way to put Potato Head into the movie, so they just like went back through like which is so weird because I feel like he didn't really say anything in this movie, but they were all like, yeah, we went back through all these unused recordings and all the video games and all the live shows that we've done over the years and all the voice work he's done for that to reconstruct stuff so he could have lines in this movie, and he like barely says anything.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, obviously Woody and Buzz have a lot to do in this movie because they're the main characters. Bo Peep comes back, so she's kind of a big thing. But like Jessie has nothing to do in this movie.
Yeah, Jessie is like, first I even thought I was like, Joan Cusack isn't even in this, and then she says like stuff at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So like none of the other toys have anything to do. It's mostly about all the new characters that they brought in for this. But
and there were so many characters, like Bonnie's leftover toys, and plus the new ones.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, they took all of them, and yeah, they just sat in the RV half the time.
Yeah, they didn't do anything in this whole movie.
I guess maybe they just wanted them there so they could say goodbye to Woody.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
But Kyle, after we watched this, Kyle brought up a good point that this movie is kind of odd because a lot of the characters feel out of character, and I want to talk specifically. I do not like how they treated Buzz in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
For some reason, they hit him with the stupid stick, and he's just an idiot through this movie.
Well, he's like, what's your inner voice? And
because they're like Buzz and Woody have this conversation about like why Woody is so intent on making sure Forky stays around, because Forky keeps trying to escape because he thinks he's trash. He's not a toy, so he keeps trying to throw himself away. But Woody's like my conscience, my inner voice, it keeps me from is telling me that I need to make sure he stays and it is Bonnie's toy. And Buzz is like, your inner voice, like your voice box, like the little pull string on him. Like, how does Buzz not understand after 4 movies what a conscience is? After like having probably about close to 15 years of
spends the whole movie like pressing his buttons, and I'm like, you know what your buttons say? Like, I don't.
It's just, and the thing is, and I don't remember if it was you I was talking to or Mel was talking about, is that because Woody goes off to get Forky and then kind of disappears with Bo for a while, and Buzz is left in charge, and he's like constantly like trying to question his inner voice, which he's just pressing the buttons on his chest and his voice box activates.
It was because he was afraid of being a leader, and it was like the second movie, he took charge. He was the one who led everybody.
Yeah, he was perfect. He was a perfectly capable leader of the group in the second movie. So it's like,
it's like, I have to save Woody.
Yeah, so it's like, why is he having such a difficult time with it now?
Yeah, it was really weird. Well, and at first I thought he was like totally joking. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, I thought he was just giving him shit. It was like, no, he's literally has no idea what the inner voice is and like what a conscience is, and like takes it literally.
Well, and you know who I completely forgot even existed?
Whoa.
Bullseye the horse.
Oh yeah.
Like, I totally forgot. And then all of a sudden he's there at the end when he gives Woody a hug. I didn't see him in the whole movie.
He was there.
Man.
But yeah.
But they got Buttercup. He's the new horse.
Oh god.
Buttercup. Who's that?
It's the unicorn.
Oh.
Kept wanting to put
Jeff Garland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he wants to frame the dad for a crime. And he finally does at some point.
He was so happy about that. I loved it.
It was.
Really weird.
It's like, Dad's totally going to jail.
Yeah. Like,
Jesus. But yeah, so Bo Peep comes back after being absent for a movie, and the movie starts with explaining how she left.
So we get to see Andy again, and
I mean, this movie kind of starts off with like a recap of the first 3 movies, like a real like Cliff Notes version of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, Bo apparently was given away probably as like a Craigslist deal or something, because some guy just like comes and buys her.
Yeah, there was no explanation to that at all.
No, some guy just wanted her, no real reason.
Guess she was a collector's item.
Sure. But yeah, it's like Woody doesn't want her to go, so he tries to save her from the box before they leave, and she's like, you know, toys go get lost all the time, and he like straight up almost climbs in the box and just says fuck it.
Which kind of seemed a little out of character.
That's another thing. Woody was like totally out of character. That it was like he was like he was so up Andy's ass at that point. I mean, he still is.
Well, it was just, I think, a little moment of hesitance.
The thing you guys got to realize too is this is like the bridge between the second and third movie, right? The second movie, he was really ready to go to Japan too. He was ready to drop everything and go to Japan as well.
Man.
Oh, in the second movie when he was going to go to the museum.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He's
Yeah, I guess.
Peace out, bitches.
But, like, yeah, Woody spends, like, this entire movie just, like, moping over Andy, which is weird because, like...
He was over it in the third movie.
Yeah, like, the end of the third movie, like, was supposed to be him coming to, like, accept that.
Accepting it, and that was the whole point of the third movie, I thought.
Yeah, the whole third movie, it was supposed to be him, like... Because he was trying... Because he was trying to get back to Andy in the third movie so he can go to college with him, but, like, then they're giving away to Bonnie, and it's like he was... Like, that his ending line was supposed to be him to coming to terms with that.
The whole reason he even went with Bonnie to begin with is because Woody wrote the address down.
Yeah. So...
I was reading people talking about that online, and they were like, "Oh, you think people just get over stuff as easy as he does?" And I'm like, "It's a fucking cartoon." Like, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure if they wrote it a certain way, I would believe it anyway. But
it
seemed like he was pretty cool.
It kind of goes back to the whole thing where it's like, did we need a fourth movie?
No.
Because, like, I feel like the whole ending to 3 was, like, so well done and, like, so, like, capped off that trilogy of movies so well that, like, bringing these characters back for another full story just seems so unnecessary.
It just seemed like they're literally the only thing they were going on was explaining where Bo Peep went. Because in the third movie, they just glossed over the fact that she was gone.
Yeah.
But I didn't really give a shit. I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
They needed strong female character.
Yeah.
I mean, she is kind of a badass in this, but...
In this one she is. In all the other ones, though, she was stupid.
Yeah, she didn't do anything.
She was just like the goody two-shoes.
But I mean, for as unnecessary as I think this movie was, I do think... Like, I didn't hate it. I mean, I still enjoyed the movie, and I think a lot of the characters they introduced were really fun. Like, I love Key and Peele's characters, because it's just basically a Key and Peele sketch the entire movie.
I love Key and Peele. I don't feel like those characters needed to exist.
They didn't need to be there, but I still liked them
the whole
being
movie
there.
to me just felt so forced.
They added nothing to the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
I literally just... That's what I was saying. I was just kind of bored watching it. The whole movie felt like really forced. Like, the character development was blah. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. I don't know. I'm not nearly as hard on this movie. Like,
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Jones in the seat again.
Like, I definitely don't think it's anywhere near Pixar's worst movie. Cars 2 still holds that honor. I do think, and I would rank this as my least favorite Toy Story movie, but I'm not saying that in a sense that I dislike it. I would just saying that I like the other 3 better than this one.
Well, I think it's just really obvious that this movie...
Oh no, this movie is definitely made because they need to make more merchandise.
Like, and you can tell. Like, the other ones felt like they were actually, like, cared about. And this one was just like, well, what do we do now? Let's have an issue, I guess.
Yeah.
Because if Bonnie didn't like Woody, there would be no story. So they had to do it for the plot.
Yeah.
Which was dumb because in the third movie, she, like, loved him.
Yeah. But, you know, that's just how little kids are. They, like, have a different favorite toy every week, so...
I do think it's cute, though, that, like, in the end they decided to like, go out and, like, help toys find homes. Like, I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
But another thing I wanted to ask was, like, Woody was really obsessed with Andy.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that was his kid. But then he says he was made in, like, the 1950s. So... Was Andy, like, his first and only kid? Did he have kids before Andy? How long has he been around?
Well,
like,
he didn't even know about the TV show in the second movie.
Yeah, how does he not know about that?
These are questions that I don't think they want to ask or answer.
Yeah, because like, you think he would have... I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah. I feel like, wouldn't he have had... Where did he come from? Like...
My best guess is that like the toys don't really gain sentience until they like really form a bond with a child. So maybe like Woody didn't really become aware until Andy because he never like had a close relationship with a kid before.
I don't think so. Because in the toy store in Toy Story 2, all those Buzz Lightyears are alive.
That's true.
And the Barbies and everything. And
yeah, that's true.
None of them have even been purchased yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of the Toy Story universe just doesn't have like a set of rules that they adhere to. It's just kind of like whatever.
I mean, like I said, things like that I don't really question because I just assume it's just like magic, you know?
Yeah, it's childhood magic.
Yeah, like Rudolph's Red Nose.
The wizard did it.
Fucking give a shit, like.
Yeah.
And so, I don't really question that, but I don't know.
Well, kind of see. My problem with this movie was they had a bunch of times where Bonnie was with Forky or whatever, but it didn't even really seem like she liked him that much. Because she was just maybe holding him and like playing with him a little bit, but like they never made a bond in a sense. Where it's
I mean,
like, oh
she
shit,
like
they gotta
anytime
get it
she couldn't
back.
find him, she flipped out.
She flipped out when she couldn't find him.
Yeah, but
And she was like sleeping with him, and
I still feel like there wasn't really a bond there for me to
I
actually
mean, she
care
made
if
him,
it
I
got
think.
back.
I think that was the bond.
Well, do you have anything from your childhood that you made still?
If I do, it's in a box somewhere at my parents' house.
Don't fucking Christmas ornament, maybe.
Yeah.
Clay shit.
I
Not as cool as Bonnie, okay.
I do want to give this credit, kind of, this movie credit in the fact that it is, like all Pixar movies nowadays, visually beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the whole beginning part where they're trying to save the RC car from the storm drain, like that water looks fucking real. And I know they got water effects down in The Good Dinosaur, so I mean, obviously they're already set on that, but like that whole scene is just like really well put together, and like how the rain interacts with the characters and all that kind of stuff.
I really love the little details, like in the Gabby Gabby doll, like they showed the little holes in her hair that like you can actually, like looking at it, you can know how she feels, like that toy texture.
Yeah,
and where the hair was put in.
One of the little toy effects that I really noticed was they were like close up on Buzz, and you can kind of see where his stickers are starting to peel. So you can see that like a little wear and tear on him after all these years. So that was cool.
How are their batteries still running? Jeez.
I don't know, man. But this is a weird complaint to have, but I think Pixar's getting to the point where they're putting too much detail into things. Because the human characters in this are starting to look a little uncanny. Like, especially when they close up on Bonnie, like, she has all these wrinkles in her face, and, like, the skin texture and the hair. It's, like, getting to that weird Uncanny Valley part where it's, like, this is looking a little too real, but it's still an animated character, so it looks a little strange. And, Mel, you and I were saying that, like, there was a few points in the movie where they're, like, panning over a crowd, and, like, your brain almost thinks they just used real footage of people.
Yeah.
And it just, like, cut it in. So it's weird at points. Like, technically it's great, and it's very well put together, and it's, like, the rendering and all that, it's, like, it's great, but just looking at it, it's, like, it's getting weird.
Well, and I thought the cat was too realistic. In just, like, the universe of it. I don't know. Like,
See, that's the thing. Everyone was like, before this movie came out, everyone was talking about the cat and like showing how like the dog from the first movie to the cat now, how big of a difference it is. And there is a huge difference. But I thought like once they put the cat in motion in the movie, I wasn't really as bothered by it because like how like spastic and like how cartoony the cat moves. I mean, they give him a couple little cat, what's the word I want to use here?
Oh.
Traits.
Yeah, like traits and like how cats move and stuff, but like the whole chase sequence with the cat, I mean, the cat is just like spazzing all over the place, so it's not like I'm watching an actual house, like a real life house cat chase these things. It's like, it's a cartoon cat.
I guess. I don't know. I just thought it looked a little too realistic.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the fur texture on it.
An animated, cartoony movie.
Right.
And, I don't know. Maybe just tone it down a little.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, good for you guys. You really kind of hit the wall on making things look real. Maybe let's dial it back a little bit.
The detail in the environment, in the antique shop with all the cobwebs and the dust. And
oh yeah.
And it really actually feels like an actual antique store. Like,
the
details were really awesome.
Yeah. I want to say there are parts in this movie that are legit terrifying. These dummies especially, and I get that's the point, but these fucking ventriloquist dummy minion things.
I didn't like their legs.
Yeah, they have like floppy legs. They have these like
legs.
dead-eyed stare, and it's fucking terrifying. And I'm surprised we were in a packed theater full of little kids. We watched this, and I'm surprised there weren't any kids screaming watching this. It was like, this would have scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah. Well, the first one scared the shit out of me because that dog is so fucking scary.
Yeah.
He's so crude.
But it's like, now that like they're getting to a point where these characters move and look real, it looked like someone like, you know, was puppeting this dummy without a hand, and it's like, it's possessed. It has the demon in him.
How the hell does its like legs move?
I don't know, and it's terrifying to watch.
And I didn't give a shit about the Gabby character. Like, it was total filler. It was just fucking there to waste time. And every time they went to get Forky, I swear to God, like 100 times, and they're like, wait, we don't have Forky. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We have to go back again.
I feel like that happened to a couple different characters in this movie.
Jesus Christ.
Where it's like, they're like on their way to somewhere, and then like somebody stops to look at something, or...
And then when Woody just jumps out of the goddamn truck, I was just like, great.
Yep. The whole thing with Gabby was kind of strange, because they set her up like right from the beginning, like, oh, she's the villain of this movie.
Yeah.
But like, once she gets Woody's voice box, like...
Yeah, she's like nice.
Yeah, she's super nice. Like, that's literally all she wanted.
Yeah.
Just like, they're best friends then.
Yeah.
So it's like...
And then I questioned even that, because their voice boxes were so different in size that I didn't understand how the parts work together.
That whole thing, too, is a little weird, because in the first movie they established that Woody can talk out of his voice box, and in this movie they make it like it's just a record player.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because when he was taunting Sid, he was like talking out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Huh.
That's where it's like, I don't really like this.
Yeah, that is strange.
Yeah, that part where he like fucking turns his head.
Yeah, does the head spin?
So weird.
There's so much weird shit in the Toy Story movies.
That first movie is fucking creepy.
Yeah. Toy does that, just comes to life and like says, I'm gonna fucking murder you.
I mean, and then like they're all coming like out of the toy box and like the sandbox and shit, and then they're all like mutilated and like, oh.
I mean, Sid did that to him.
Really freaky movie.
So yeah, so I feel like Gabby's supposed to be like the antagonist of this movie, but like three quarters of the way there, she's not the antagonist anymore, and there really isn't an antagonist anymore.
Yeah, and then they were like, we have to hurry up and get back to the RV, and then she sees this lost little girl, and then Woody's like, change of plans, and I'm like, oh my god, like, your toys, you don't get to change the plans, like, you're gonna get left behind. I was just like, ugh.
Well, it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little, like, still hung up on the last movie, because, like, they made the bear in that movie, like, he's the straight up bad guy.
Yeah.
And, like, he doesn't get a redemption at the end. But, like, Gabby totally gets a redemption at the end of this, like, because even though she took Woody's voice box and installed it in herself. All she wants is the love of a child. And when the child she's been pining over for years doesn't want her, they have to like convince like, oh, you should come with us because Bonnie will totally love you.
And I'm like, listen, Bonnie doesn't even love you, Woody.
Right.
Like, why do you think she would love you, this girl? Like, why do they just assume? And he did that too with Jesse. He was like, oh, Andy would love you. And I'm like, why do you just fucking assume?
I'm just kind of like, why would Woody even give a shit about her? Because like, this girl literally ripped open your back, pulled your voice box out, and took it for herself. And it's like, like, I don't care if she did it because she's lonely and wants the love of a child. She fucking like mutilated you and took something out of you. Why do you give a shit about what happens to her?
It was like taking a kidney.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like taking a kid. Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck about Gabby.
Yeah.
I really just like.
Yeah, and then like the whole scene where like they're trying to stall the parents from leaving town because Woody and everyone hasn't got back to the RV yet. Like that whole thing was just like there because like, oh yeah, we have all these other characters in this movie. You have to give them something to do. And it's like, why are they all even here if they're not going to do anything anyway? It's just wasted
It's
time.
funny in any movie where they're like, oh, we're going to go do this. Can I bring a toy? You can only bring one. It's like they went on a road trip and she brought like 17 toys with her.
Yeah.
Like, I guess she has to stay busy, but damn. She's not taking the whole cast with her.
And also how like Woody just straight up goes to kindergarten with her, and I'm just like, damn, you come to my school?
Great.
Oh, what I didn't like about the movie is Bo Peep was just a complete bitch to Woody for no reason.
He didn't follow the plan.
I think she had just kind of... Yeah, he didn't follow the plan, what a douche. I think she was just kind of... had spent so long being independent.
She was embittered from all these times all these years on the road.
And then Woody's like, I'm gonna do my own thing, and she's like, what the fuck?
She's a
I know
strong black
more
woman
than
that
you.
needs no man.
She don't need no man. Except she totally does.
Oh yeah, she wants that dick.
They don't have dicks. They don't have parts.
They didn't even smooch.
That's what okay, so, like at the end, like they were totally gonna go in for a smooch, but they just hug. Because toys don't smooch.
I don't really get it.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. Like, I enjoy... Whoa. Sorry, Mel's playing Elder Scrolls while we're recording this, and she just walks by this wall and it's just splattered with blood. I'm like, oh.
It's pretty odd.
Alright, anyway. I like this movie overall. Like, I'm glad I saw it. I'm still kind of in the camp of, like, I don't think this needed to be made. They made it, so it's like, okay, I saw it and I had a good time watching it. But it's like, again, Toy Story 3 ended so well that this story just seems kind of out of place with the overall story of these films.
See, I feel like if they were going to make another sequel, I would completely take how the third movie started, where it's just like imagination playtime bullshit, where they could just make a complete fantasy movie, and I would be completely on board with it.
I mean, that'd be fine. But yeah, I don't know how they could make another movie, because at the end of this, like, Woody goes off with Bo and their crew, and Buzz and Jesse are left to lead the old toys, and so they split up the main cast. So it's like, if you make another movie, you're gonna have to follow one of those groups, and you're not gonna have
a Toy Story without Woody.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he is Toy Story.
He's the main character. So it's like you either do a movie where it's just Woody and Bo and Keanu Reeves going around rescuing toys, which I feel like they kind of gave you enough of a look at that at the end of the movie that you don't need to show that, or you're going to go back with Buzz and Jesse and all of them, and it's like, well, what's the point of all that?
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, so it's like, what could they even do? So
Yeah.
I think this is a good. I still think Toy Story 3 should have been the final ending, but if this is going to be the end of Toy Story, I'm fine with that. It's like, all right, I'm not like going to be like how people ignore the Matrix sequels. I'm not going to just pretend this doesn't exist in the canon of Toy Story. It's all right. It's not the greatest thing Pixar's ever made, but it's also not near the worst thing they've ever made.
I
So
just don't think it's necessary. Like, I just don't know why they made it.
it's highly unnecessary, but for what we got, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I just
like
want to see Andy come back from college and like, all right, I'm ready to pick up my Woody doll. Where is he?
Aw.
He
Shit, especially if he gets on eBay and sees how much he's worth.
He's gonna be like Kyle and just like sells a bunch of stuff.
Right. Like, according to the second movie guy.
Or he's gonna be like one of those weird fat guys that like has like anime dolls all over his house, and he's like a hoarder.
Can you imagine them coming alive?
We need Miku.
I wanted. Okay,
Hatsune
so I like
Miku.
have wondered that because we have all these like figures and shit, and I'm like, okay, are action figures considered toys? Do those come?
Yeah, because Combat Carl comes to life. He's an action figure. Buzz Lightyear's an action figure.
Well, no, but they were specifically made as toys. Like, they have moving limbs and shit. Where, like, our statues upstairs, they're just...
I mean, I think Bo is technically like that because she's made of porcelain.
She's a porcelain lamp.
Yeah, she's a porcelain lamp figure. Again, she's not a toy, she's a lamp.
Yeah.
She's a lamp accessory.
Yeah, they never explained that in any of the movies. I didn't know she was
that was the thing, too, is that they kept saying, well, I'm not Andy's toy. And it's like, he played with you way more than the little sister did.
Well, because I think by the time that happened is she had been given to his sister, so she had transferred ownership.
But yeah, he was playing with Bo Peep in like the first one and the second one.
Yeah. He had to save the sheep.
Even in the third movie, she's hanging with the crew and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know that she was a lamp. Did they ever say she was a lamp in the other movies?
She was in the third.
Was she?
Or, sorry, not the third. She was in the first movie as a lamp.
Was she? I don't remember. It's honestly been so long since I've watched the first movie.
Yeah.
I watched all three before this review.
You're so
Way to go,
smart.
Kyle.
Good for you. Smart guy, Kyle.
But yeah, it's all right if you're really into the Toy Story movies. I mean, I think you should watch this, but
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you know everyone's gonna see it.
I mean, it's
Toy Story.
it's a Pixar movie. It's Toy Story. It's there.
Yeah, there was no short at the beginning.
Well, Kyle had an interesting theory on this
Oh.
What?
about
I
why there
remember.
wasn't a short at the beginning of this movie.
Oh, it's because Pixar has that shorts program now. So instead of waiting until a movie comes out, you could just go on YouTube and watch a short.
Like, you remember when we watched that short about the pit bull?
Yeah.
That's from their shorts program.
Oh, that was a fucking sad.
Or
Yeah,
that
that was
amazing one with the ball of yarn.
Oh yeah,
That was
I don't know that
that was
I don't
basically
think Mel
saying
watched
women
that
are
one.
weak.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Oh,
it was about it was like a male office. It's like a bunch of guys in suits in an office, and then a ball of yarn gets at it like hired, and it's totally just a metaphor for women in the workplace.
Are you serious?
Yes.
yeah. It was like the metaphor that I took from it is that women are weak and fragile, and
What the fuck?
that's what I took from it.
But they all learn to get along by the end.
They sure did.
It's literally a ball of yarn.
Oh yeah, it's literally a ball of yarn with a face.
What the fuck? It has a face?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's like
cool.
it's like a character.
Okay, then I
It's like this giant ball of yarn.
Apparently I need to watch this.
Yeah.
So spoilers at the end of Toy Story 4, Woody leaves the pack.
Yeah, he does. He pieces out because he's about to go back, and then Buzz is all like, "It's okay,
Nah, it's fine.
it's fine. Bonnie will be okay without you."
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
live with my
Bonnie
woman.
I'm gonna get some Bo Peep pussy.
The power of boners.
The power of boners is strong in this movie.
Ceramic pussy.
But yeah, Woody's kind of a dick. Because then he's even like...
Woody's also always been a dick.
Then he's like a lost toy like you wouldn't understand.
But she didn't. She didn't understand.
She's like, listen, bitch, I didn't want to be lost. They fucking got rid of me.
She did want to be lost because she pieced out of the vintage shop. She was tired of waiting.
Well, yeah, but she didn't want to. She didn't want to be sold in the beginning. Like, sure, she didn't make that choice.
She was okay with it though.
I mean, she had no choice. What do you fucking do? Like,
yeah. But yeah, there you go. You guys have anything else you want to say before we wrap it up here?
I mean, it was a good way to kill a Friday night, but
I guess so.
I'm not really jonesing to see it too quickly again. I just don't know why it exists. Like,
Money,
Yeah. I've seen it.
merchandise.
I've seen it once in my lifetime. I think I'm good.
I really am fine with just considering the third one, like, the end. Like, I really like the third one.
Third one is really good.
The third one's really good. Made me cry. Like, and it wrapped everything up really nicely. So, I don't know. I'm just going to consider that the end.
Okay. Yeah, so Toy Story 3 is your end. This is some weird, like... It's like the last chapter of Harry Potter. It's like some weird epilogue.
Yeah.
So...
That makes everyone sad. Like...
Yeah, it's true. It's a sad...
At least in the last chapter of Harry Potter, we got Albus Severus.
We don't talk about that.
In this one, we just get sad crying toys.
Yeah. Except they can't cry because they don't have tear ducts.
Existential crises that wanted to fucking kill
Okay,
themselves.
seriously, like, there's so many points where it's like these characters like making the faces where they'd be crying, but because they don't have tear ducts, they can't.
I never noticed that. That's hilarious.
Can't even. The literal fact that we were watching this fucking toy want to die, like...
Yeah, he literally just, Forky keeps trying to kill himself in this
literally the
movie.
whole time he's just like, why am I alive? I want to be dead. And I'm just like, wow, this is...
He wants to be
We've
thrown
gotten to
away.
this point,
Well.
huh, Pixar?
I feel that, though.
Like,
That was the thing
jeez.
too, was that he was following the rules of the toy stuff too. Where someone grabs you, you stay still.
Yeah, but he's like, I'm not a toy. I don't know, man.
But Key and Peele were totally cool with just, like, assaulting people.
God, they were totally just there for fucking...
Because they wanted Key and Peele to do their
They
thing.
just wanted Key and Peele. They were just like, we really like these guys.
And even though they serve no point to the plot, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, I love them, but Jesus Christ. It's just so much why. So much I don't understand.
Yeah. Kyle, is there anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Okay. Well, there you go, everybody. There's our thoughts on Toy Story
Yay.
4. I'm interested to hear what everyone else, like, thinks about this being a thing that exists, because it's baffling. It's baffling as to why it needed to be made, but we know why it needed to be made, because Pixar needs money. Or wants money. They probably don't need money.
I think my
It
favorite part of the
offended
whole
all my
movie
senses.
was when the dad got all pissed off about the flat tire, and the mom was like, okay, well, Daddy's going to use some words. That was really great.
I like that.
Yeah, that was like the best part.
Yeah, there's some good moments in this
Yeah.
movie. It's not
And then where they just straight up hijacked the RV, and I was just like, they are going to kill these people.
probably, or to get Dad sent to jail.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for listening, and thank you both for being here today. And we will catch you all again next week with something else. So, see you later.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the show. Join our Discord to chat with us, and subscribe to our Patreon for some cool bonuses. Links are in the description. We'll see you next time.